Welcome to the Wrestling Replay. I'm Kato, and today we're going to be getting into Monday Night's Raw premiere show. Now, if you have not seen Monday Night's Raw show and you plan on watching it, I advise you right now to go ahead and turn this video off and come back later. So, before we get into everything, go ahead and mash that like button, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications, and make sure you get all the alerts, alright? The show kicks off with The Fiend and Alexa Bliss making their way down to the ring, and before they even get to say a word, they're interrupted and surrounded by Retribution. So the lights go off, come back on, The Fiend and Bliss are out of there, they're gone, which leaves Retribution in the ring by themselves. The Hurt Business then makes their way down to the ring for the first match of the night, which was a 4-on-4 match that ended in the Hurt Business getting the win via submission by Bobby Lashley. Now, immediately following the match, that's where things get interesting, because The Fiend returns. He returns on his own, takes out the whole Retribution. I mean, the whole Retribution by himself. The Hurt Business is outside the ring just watching havoc. The Fiend destroys this whole group in under 1 minute. Alright? So there's no better way to make The Fiend look as strong as possible and make your two top factions on Monday Night Raw look weak as ever. Great job. The show continued with AJ Styles, and he introduced his new bodyguard, Jordan Amabea. You guys may remember him from Monday Night Underground. He was a big guy at the door, make sure Shane, got him safely. I believe that was his job. But anyway, AJ Styles actually put on a pretty good angle with him and Jordan. Jordan just pretty much just showed his menace side, pretty much showed how intimidating he could be, which was great, and I think it's a really good fit for a guy like AJ Styles. With that bodyguard, there's no way that AJ Styles doesn't make a good push for the WWE Championship. It would only make sense. So in his debut on Monday Night Raw, AJ Styles and Matt Riddle went at it 1-on-1. These two possibly had the best match of the night. Actually, no, they had the best match of the night. They actually put on a pay-per-view quality match, resulting in AJ Styles getting a win. Next, we had Lana, who kicked off the second hour of the show with hopes of catching on the opportunity that she earned a week prior by facing Asuka for the women's title. But unfortunately, that ended up in Lana tapping out. Of course, Asuka retains, and Lana went through another table again by Nia Jax. I don't know what angle or push they're trying to do for Lana. You give her a title shot. She puts up an okay fight, but she was clearly not ready for Asuka. She goes through a table yet again. No one really comes to help her. No one comes to her aid. So I'm not exactly sure what role they have for Lana. I like Lana better as the manager role. Her in-ring isn't bad, but it definitely isn't the best. You got a lot of women on that roster on both sides who are, way above her talent level right now. That led to Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler actually cutting a promo saying, look, no one can hang with us. As tag champs, our run has been dominant. No one can stop us and no one's on our level. So a few women in the back definitely took offense to that. One being the team of Mandy Rose and Dana Brooks. Now I love the look of Mandy and Dana together. They look awesome. I hope that when Sonya Deville comes back that she manages these two, because that's the only way I could see them getting the tag titles off of Jax and Shayna Baszler. That's the only way possible, honestly. Next, of course, we had the Riot Squad, who's been having issues with the tag champs as of late. And then we had an interesting pairing of Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans. Now, you just took Peyton Royce out of a tag team not too long ago, only to repair her up again with someone else. That's a little weird to me, but whatever. At the end of the day, it was still the tag champs standing tall as they managed to get the win in this fatal 4-way tag team match. Now, if you remember, Elias made his return last Monday after sitting on the sidelines for 5 months. Well, this Monday, he really didn't disappoint. He gave us a live performance, which was actually pretty amazing, until Jeff Hardy, interrupted and saying, hey, I didn't hit you with the car. But it looks like this feud is going to be ongoing. It looks like they're going to pretty much restart what we thought they left off on SmackDown months ago. The show must go on with your boys, The New Day. But Sheamus had to ruin that. Too bad for him, because he ended up losing to the hands of Kofi Kingston. Now, they finally revealed the SmackDown hacker. which was very disappointing. A huge waste. I mean, laziness. Who's writing this stuff? So the SmackDown hacker was Mustafa Ali. Wow. Very exciting stuff there. Not really. Let's move on. Miz and Morrison made their way to the ring, waiting for Tucker to find himself a partner. But he actually did. El Gran Gordo, possibly the best luchador in WWE history. When really, it was just Otis in the mask. But to be honest, it was a very entertaining segment and a very entertaining match, with El Gran Gordo getting the win for his team. We also seen Alexa Bliss make her first appearance at the Firefly Funhouse, which I think she's going to be a really good addition to. Another good talker to pair with Bray Wyatt, so that should be pretty interesting actually. Okay, the next match I really wasn't a fan of because I believe it's going to be the start of an ongoing feud with Braun Strowman and Keith Lee. Not too long ago, Keith Lee was fighting guys like Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre night in and night out, up until last week when he fought Braun Strowman, which ended in a double count out, which was fine. There was no winner, so you know they was going to lock it up again. But the way this match ended, it makes it seem like there's going to be an ongoing issue with Keith Lee and Braun Strowman. What that says to me is, hey, we got too many chefs in the kitchen. We got too many guys and we don't know what to really do with them. Why not send Keith Lee to SmackDown in the draft, so that way he could have built himself up to possibly that IC title or to feud him with Roman Reigns down the line. That way you can save your Braun Strowman. He can continue to dominate the lower guys on Monday Night Raw roster until you're ready to pair him back up with Drew McIntyre or whoever the champion may be at that time. At the same time, you have Keith Lee on the SmackDown brand and a legit threat to Roman Reigns after him and Jey Uso finish their feud. So from there, they managed to disappoint me even further. Alright, we have a great segment. I mean, Randy Orton may be the king of promos in 2020. He's been crushing all of his promos. So we have a segment right now where the cage is lowered, the Hell in a Cell is dropped, Randy Orton is inside the ring, and he has locked himself inside. And he's egging Drew McIntyre to come down. He's egging him to come on out. Drew finally does, of course. He can't get inside because it's locked. Drew magically find bolt cutters that's planted, right at ringside. That was very stupid, but it's planted right at ringside. So Drew cuts the lock, makes his way inside, and then Monday Night Raw fades to black. We don't see any interaction. We don't see, if they fight, if the locker room comes, breaks it up, whatever. It fades to black. Who is writing this? How lazy could you be? Guys, it's not hard to just let Drew McIntyre keep yanking at the door, yanking on the door, and then break the door off because he's so pissed. Have referees come down. No, don't do this, Drew. Don't do this, Drew. Have the roster come down to separate the two. Let's get some real build-up. We could have had some real build-up going into the Hell in a Cell match, but you blew it. You blew it. I can't believe, like, when someone pitched this idea, that someone else said, yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do it. I don't get it, but that's the way Raw ended. The premiere show, it wasn't too bad. It wasn't too bad. It had its highlights, but it definitely had its low points as normal. I believe it had a rating of 0.52. Yeah, so right now, the only storyline I'm actually liking is honestly AJ Styles with his new bodyguard. Everything else to me just seems boring, and I'm kind of just waiting for him to get on with it and get to the next story, you know. Of course, The Fiend and Alexa Bliss will be interesting, but I thought about something last night. Where will this go? Right now, we're developing Alexa Bliss character. Understandable. Once she is locked into her role, where do we go next for The Fiend? Will he go straight for Drew McIntyre? Does AJ Styles, feud with Matt Riddle for a while? I would like to see Matt Riddle and Jeff Hardy team up. I would like to see Braun Strowman and David Kato team up. We still have Eric on the team. Ivar has not been drafted. Eric's on the roster. I'm sorry. Ivar has not been drafted, so we don't know what's going on with the Viking Raiders. It's just so much in limbo right now. And really the best storyline going on is Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre, which is the one thing these guys got right. They nailed it right on the head. I believe Randy Orton is the feud that Drew McIntyre needed to actually solidify himself as like that top guy. He needed to get over a challenge like a guy like Randy Orton who's going to push him to that next level, and he did. I mean, the matches are way better. These are probably the best matches I've ever seen from Drew McIntyre, and some of the best promos. So they got that absolutely right, and I'm on board with that. Issue being, after Hell in a Cell, I can see it going one of two ways. Randy wins just so you can push this feud a little bit longer and let Drew McIntyre get his title back later on, maybe at the Royal Rumble or Survivor Series. Or you end it at Hell in a Cell, but then you have to immediately push your next guy for Survivor Series. Which leads me to the Hurt Business and Retribution of why I do not like this feud, because my US title is now tied up in a feud with another group. I don't see a guy like Mustafa Ali taking the title off of Bobby Lashley. So are we going to have to wait until Survivor Series just for this to wrap up? You know, I'm pretty sure they try to aim to do the traditional 4-on-4 elimination tag match, which kind of they hinted at last week, because you had a guy like T-Bar who tapped out, but the rest of them was kind of on the apron like, hey, you know, we're still here, we still want to fight more. So I assume that they're gonna drag this all the way out to Survivor Series. I don't want my US title in a faction feud when I don't think no one on the other side of that faction is capable of being that champion. You know, they're not capable of being the US champion. So I would like for a guy like Keith Lee, maybe Angel Garza, to somehow take the title off of Lashley, which could happen, maybe a one-on-one match in Retribution attack the rest of the Hurt Business outside of the ring, and Lashley get distracted, and that'll lead someone, you know, still in the victory and still in the title. That would be an awesome way to do it. But right now the US title is kind of just in limbo, and it's kind of like a waste of a spot because of this feud that's going on now between two weak factions, because you had one man just go and dominate everybody. But that's about it, man. Raw definitely has potential. They have the superstars they need on their roster now, especially the feed to Drew McIntyre if you want to continue to build him up, or if you want a legit contender to take him down. You definitely have the pieces there. They have great pieces at the US title reigns. They just have to give those guys a chance. And their tag team division, that's the only place that's really, really hurting right now, because you have the New Day, you have the Miz and Morrison and Lucha House Party, all who came from SmackDown. Why are we going to switch championships if you're going to just bring two teams from SmackDown? I want my tag champs to face new teams. So hopefully we see Miz and Morrison split up, go to their singles route again. That would be awesome. And hopefully they form maybe 2 or 3 new tag teams, because they have a lot of guys on that roster who just isn't really doing anything right now. So I would like to see them form a new tag team and possibly get some new team going after those tag titles. That's about it. The women's division looks solid. They always look solid. They look solid on both brands, actually. There's no complaints there. Even the tag division is perfect, because they get to jump from, you know, brand to brand, and they're even forming new tag teams. So that's about it for the Raw recap. That's pretty much what I think of the Raw roster and what they did with the draft. I pretty much kind of included the draft into the Raw review, and I'll do the same thing for SmackDown. I'll talk about the SmackDown draft on their side when I review SmackDown later on this week. So guys, if you haven't already, please smash that like button. I want to see you guys back again. Please subscribe. Make sure your alerts are turned on so that you get notifications anytime we drop a video. Also, drop a comment down below or DM us and let us know what storylines you like and what storylines you would love to see happening in the future. Alright, I'm Kato. I'm out of here. You guys have a good one.
Yeah.